Steve Young, the Hall of Famer. Fritzy tracked him down. Fritzy was going to be Mean Joe Green or Lawrence Taylor. He was going to find Steve Young, and Steve Young, the Hall of Famer, set to join us on the program. Steve, good morning. How are you?
I don't know what to tell you, brother, other than just pure stupidity. I owe you, but apologize, but I never want to let you down. That's for sure. Number one, never let down Dan Patrick. So trying to make up for it here. I'll give you the best I got for the next 5 minutes.
Okay. Well, we called Jim Druckenmiller because we couldn't find you. I said, get me a Niner quarterback.
Give me a Niner.
Jeff Garcia was busy. Montana, was busy. We were trying to find a Niner quarterback, so we're okay.
Druckenmiller wasn't available? What happened?
I don't know.
What happened?
Are you going to take your girls to see the Barbie movie?
One of my youngest went last night, and I guess we're all going to try to go see Oppenheimer tonight, and then maybe towards the end of the week. So, yeah, I think it's happening in our family. I got everybody in the summertime. When's the last time you all went to the movies? It's been a while, so it's kind of nice to even think about.
But when the first time did we play golf? You didn't have any kids, right? That's how long. That's we were.
You and I go back.
Yes, but I remember. And then you had kids, and then you started asking me about, oh my God, you didn't tell me. And I go, you didn't ask about kids, and especially girls. Can I help you with anything now? I have 3 girls who are 25 and older.
Yes. So teenage girls, they are a festival. It's a festival. It's like but I love it. I honestly, my girls are my saving grace. My boys who are older, we're boys, and they're trying to figure it out. The girls are on it, and I love it. And both of them are tremendous athletes, and so much fun to be around. And my oldest girl is just going to be a senior this year. Decided to try high jump, and then went to the state championship in California. And now is getting recruited after 3 weeks of high jump. So she's having fun. And my other one's a dancer, and I don't really need any, honestly, Dan, I don't need any help right now. I feel like I got it.
Good.
Thanks to them, they're making up for all dad's shortcomings.
Okay, but don't let them fool you, though. When you let your foot off the accelerator a little bit, they might take advantage of you. But I'm glad
I might come back to you.
And then you're going to coach flag football?
Yeah, well, I John Pay, who played before Jim Druckenmiller, was the quarterback of the 49ers, and he's been the coach over at Menlo School for many, many years in girls basketball, which my daughter plays. The school is starting, the whole league is starting a women's flag football in the fall. Like, it's a very organized, very big commitment. And so he called me and said, "Do you want to come over and help out a little bit?" And I go, I can come over every once in a while and help out. And that's how that happens. So John Pay's the coach, and I'm going to bring Kyle Shanahan's offense to the whole thing.
If you were playing now and the ability to be able to run, would you run more in today's NFL or pass more?
You have to, Dan. The game changed when they changed the rules around how defensive players can launch their bodies. And once they eliminated that, it opened up all kind of space. I was talking to Doug Peterson the other day, coach of the Jaguars. He's like, there's just so much more space in the NFL game than there was before. And if you don't innovate and figure out ways to go take advantage of that space that's been created, especially at quarterback, you will lose. And so a game today is my game. I wish that, I was talking to Michael Vick the other day. He's like, how much we wish we could go play today because there's so much space and you can go fill it up. And I saw Aaron Rodgers the other day and said, Aaron, if you're going to go to the Super Bowl, and I think he agreed, that you're going to have to get on your horse. You're going to have to go get those free yards. You're going to have to be in those big games. You're going to have to go run for 40 or 50 yards because they're sitting there. You got to go get them. And every big game it comes down. Even Joe Burrow now realizes when he plays Patrick Mahomes, I got to get on the horse too. I'm going to have to go get those free yards that are out there. So the game has changed. It's so much more fun for quarterbacks, especially guys that can run. You're not going to see quarterbacks like Dan Marino or Peyton Manning ever again because they can't go get those yards. They're free, and you have to have them. So that's why Bryce Young is the #1 pick in the NFL this year, because forevermore into the future, unless they change the rules again, you have to be able to go run and get those yards, or you can't win Super Bowls.
Wait, we won't see the likes of Peyton Manning or Dan Marino at the position.
No, you can't, because there's too many yards to go get with your legs that are free, that make the difference in the biggest games in the playoffs. That wasn't the case back in the day. That wasn't the case before the rule changes. So it makes I'm not saying it's impossible. It's just going to make the job so much harder for someone who can't go get those yards. They're free. They're open. The game is, look what the 49ers do on offense. The Dolphins, the Chiefs, what Andy Reid comes up with. Patrick Mahomes can go 12 of 14 in the first, into the second quarter and never throw the ball past the line of scrimmage. It's a college game because of the space that's been created, and it's just not going to be a place for guys that can't go get those free yards at quarterback.
What would Michael Vick rush for now?
We talked about that the other day, and we both. I mean, honestly, coming off an RPO and just watching the safeties have to commit and the linebackers have to commit and throw the football, and with so many threats coming from all over the place, and they can't patrol like they used to. Even talking to Tom Brady a couple years ago, he said, Steve, the game's changed so much because they can't hit me. They can't patrol the middle of the field like they used to. Guys, the flats are always open. It's a fun. Can I say it one more time? Fun time to play quarterback in the NFL. And I wish, I feel like the game came to me. This is my game. Damn, this is my game. And all we can do is watch it. So
I get nervous about Josh Allen. I've said the last 2 years, can you take on contact even though as big as he is? It's like Cam Newton. He was as big as anybody. You can only take on so many of those hits at that position.
Yeah, but Dan, you've got to be. People always say you're going to get hurt. You have to be smart. They ask too much of Josh, and Josh is such a earnest human being. He'll give you everything he has. In so many ways, if you ask too much, he'll give you too much. And the Bills need to take a little bit away from him. They've got to give him some help at running back. They've got to take away so he doesn't have to be Superman every week.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes is Superman every week because they don't ask him to be Superman every week. There's a lot of other things that they can do. The Bills ask Josh Allen to be Superman every week, and then he tries to give it to him, and it's too much. And you can feel it, you can sense it. And I would like more innovation. You think about the innovative offense. There's a lot of coaches that don't understand what I just explained. They're still running plays from 2016. They don't work. They're not as effective. You have to come up with new plays that are going to take advantage of these new rules. And you see that with Andy Reid. You see that with Kyle Shanahan.
Well, what are those plays?
In Minnesota. You see it in Philadelphia. Those are the places that are happening, and other places they're just not going to win Super Bowls because they're not doing it.
What are those plays that you're talking about?
Well, it's how you deploy assets and how you spread. It used to be you spread the game in the NFL. You spread out sideline to sideline. You got smashed. Now you spread it out. And you try to find holes and then attack. Get the ball out in space, and then and then a lot of it is you watch the 49ers offense. It's unique ways to get the ball to players in unique spaces. Look at Deebo Samuel playing running back. You think, oh, what's the big deal? They used to do that back in 2000. Like, no, you've got to watch the offenses and how the defenses can't patrol like they used to. They don't have this. They can't launch like they used to. And so there's just space out there that you've got to get the ball moving, slip screens, quick screens. Think about all the ways they get the ball out into space, into people's hands. Like they did, like the college game of old is now the NFL game of today.
He's Steve Young, the Hall of Famer, joining us on the program. We were talking earlier in the show about trying to look at defensive backs now and who is a Hall of Famer. What makes you Hall of Fame worthy at that position? Because we're going to have to redefine what makes a Hall of Fame running back. If we even let them in the Hall of Fame, which is kind of strange to say. But as far as defensive backs, is there a sort of a bar there where you go, you got to have X number of all pros or interceptions or
probably
winning?
I think at the end, it's been hard. It's always been for defensive football players in the Hall of Fame. It's always been hard. Linebacker, it's subjective. He was a great he was an amazing linebacker. Well, how are you going to prove that? Well, he was Defensive Player of the Year 4 times. Well, that's one way to do it.
Yeah.
All pros, another way to do it. You need those things. He led the league in interceptions. Those are the kind of things that make a difference. But in the end, it is hard for defensive players to get into the Hall of Fame because it becomes a subjective game. There's not as much easy ways to, quarterback. There's so many ways to judge objectively. But running back, you make a great point about running backs. That there's the eye back is dead because you can't play that offense anymore. That offense doesn't get it done. And so anybody says, "Oh, I'm going to be a great eye back," well, go somewhere else and go to Canada. Well, that's out too. You're not going to play that position's gone. And that's why Raheem Mostert is the poster boy for what needs to be for the running back position today. And everyone's looking for them. They're all over the place, and that's why the values are down. And then the league obviously messed up the CBA when they went. Running backs' value comes much earlier in their career than any other position. They didn't want people to get the money, rookies get paid, or the first 5 years they don't get paid. Well, that's when running backs should get paid. So they've screwed that up too.
But I was wondering, not that the owners are going to acquiesce and go, yeah, we feel bad for these running backs, but is there a solution where running backs, could they do a 3-year contract at that position? So you're at least fair to them of what you're asking of them, but then there's the counterpoint of they're not as valuable to what you're doing as much as they used to be. So what do you do?
It's a double rub, and it really is a problem because there's the position. There's a lot of guys that can do it now. They can line up wide receivers and run and play running back and Deebo Samuel. I mean, that's just where the league is. Again, the league has changed. The rules changed it. We got the new reality. And for running backs, it's not easy because the old Derrick Henry at eye back is just those days are done. Super Bowl days. You can go maul people. The Ravens have done it for years. You go maul people with a really sophisticated running game, but it doesn't win Super Bowls. It's not going to get there anymore.
Niners okay at quarterback?
I mean, Brock, I think the thing that you should not do with Brock Purdy, even though he's not the tallest guy, the fastest, the strongest, all that kind of thing, you should never limit him. I mean, I always say the Star Wars analogy, the Force, like Obi-Wan Kenobi or Luke Skywalker, like quarterbacking, like we talk about Jim Druckenmiller, you either have the Force or you don't have the Force. He has it. So I don't want to limit him, but he's got to get healthy. And I have no idea about that arm. I mean, it feels like it's getting better, but that injury is super weird. And I put the torque on the arm with a big, heavy football. I'm sure he'll come back and play well, but how fast? And don't sleep on Sam Darnold, and don't sleep on Trey. Let Trey cook too. So they've got guys, they got a lot of potential, no question. But of all the places you said, Dan, Steve, you can go back and play. Pick anywhere in the league. I would sprint down to Santa Clara. Not even a question, not even close. Maybe I'd go to Andy Reid in Kansas City. That'd be like those two places I'd sprint to immediately because of the innovation that they're showing on offense that make the job for quarterbacks so much easier and so much harder for the defense. Those guys are the innovative geniuses that are dominating the league because they understand what we've been talking about.
Did you ever secretly hope that Montana would tweak his ankle or something, or maybe fall in the shower or something?
I had a great tip because I complained about backing up a lot. Bill Walsh he said Joe was hurt and then you could come in and start, and Joe came running out the first day, and I remember immediately saying, "Doesn't look real hurt," And so I had to sit there a long time, and I was frustrated and upset, and I'd go from mad to furious and I ran into somebody I really care about, and he gave me the greatest tip ever. He goes, "Steve, if you don't like the job you have today, then be the best in the world has ever seen at that job. If you don't want that job, be the best at it." And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to be the greatest backup quarterback in the history of the game. That's how my mind went. It was the greatest tip ever, because then it left behind all of that weirdness of victimization and I'm not getting my shot, or just be great at what you're doing. And I think it had a lot to do with when I did get on the field, how it went.
But it was strange that it was Joe Montana telling you to be the best backup quarterback that you can be.
It wasn't Joe that said it. One thing about Joe, I honestly could go on and on about the things that I watched him do and just go, oh, that is amazing. He was an amazing, amazing football player, but it was always awkward between the two of us. Like if I saw Joe today, he's in San Francisco, I see him every once in a while. It's always awkward. Like it's just.
Well, wait, like what?
We never argued. We never fought. We never had words. But it's just, we were for 6 years, just right in the same space. So it was awesome. It was awkwardly awesome. I'll call it.
Do you shake hands when you see him, or is it a hug
Of
when you see?
course, both, both.
Okay.
There's no animosity. There's none. It's just it was awkward. It was hard. It's like, and I would say to him, they got the best of both of us. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Through it all, they got the best of both of us. And I think that was Bill Walsh, the great genius Bill Walsh. I think that's what he was thinking about, which is, we both want to punch him if we, rest in peace, great Bill Walsh. But, we both were upset with him at times, but he was a genius.
Before I let you go, we have somebody who works with us, Marvin, who's a big 49er fan. And he screwed up asking Deebo Samuel a question at the Super Bowl. And he would like.
I think I remember this.
It didn't go well, Steve. He basically go, I like the Niners. So Marvin's been practicing. Okay.
Is he got it written down?
I don't know. Do you have this question written down for Steve Young?
I do.
Okay. All right. Would you like to ask Steve the question?
Yes, I would love to ask Steve Young a question.
Here's Marvin asking Steve Young.
All right. Besides the Cowboys, who was your biggest rival when you played?
The Cowboys. I just threw up in my mouth. Charles Haley, the Hall of Fame defensive lineman, is on our team, and the next year he's on the Cowboys. That worked out great. I would say it'd have to be the Packers, right? Because Mike Holmgren, there's real quick, Dan, there's a story. Mike Holmgren leaves the 49ers, gets a head coaching job with the Packers, and Bill Walsh had spent the last 3 years of his life packaging up everything that he knew. He knew that he was 3 generations ahead with the West Coast offense and how he thought about the players as partners, all of it, speeches, audio-based, paper-based, video-based, of everything that he knew. And he put it in a box and handed it to Mike Holmgren. And a toolkit said, this is everything I know. This is yours. Now go and be great. And on the way out the door, he says, I'll see you in the championship game. And to your question,
wow,
we saw him in the championship game and we got beat. And I remember asking Brett Favre after the game, Brett, what was the big speech Coach Holmgren gave in the hotel last night? He told me the speech. He goes, he pulled it right out of the drawer of Bill Walsh's toolkit. It was Bill Walsh's big game speech. But that's the spirit of Bill. You look at the league today,
wow.
It is everyone is a descendant of Bill Walsh through Mike Holmgren and Andy Reid and Doug Peterson. And it just goes throughout the league because of the spirit of abundance for Bill Walsh. So my second greatest nemesis was the great Green Bay Packers, I would say.
Great to talk to you again. My best to the family. Good luck with flag football, and I hold no grudges. No grudges.
Never.
That showed up late. No,
Never.
No issues.
We're in it. There's just forgiveness.
I'm Montana.
Forgiveness.
It's you and me. It's awkwardly awesome. It's you.
It's awkwardly.
Yeah.
Much love to you, Dan. Thank
you
for
buddy.
Me for yesterday.
Always great. Always great. One of my favorite guests, Steve Young. We'll take a break. Marvin, you did well.
Thank you.
Yeah, you did well. Look
that
at that
Deebo
smile.
thing. That Deebo thing was still.
Look at the smile on your face.
I know. I'm grinning from me.
Look at that.